Sorrel here. I want to give you a little demo in the typographic spacing project for your typography A class. If you look at your assignment sheet, we have a due date coming up shortly with your 18 comps for step 1 and the full scale for step 2. And when we get into step 3, when we do the preliminary Illustrator review, we'll be working on that in Illustrator. Just give you some notes again on those underpinnings for your 18 comp sketches. Little 5x5 boxes are fine. You want to think about the composition or the underpinnings, the structure of the work. And I've laid these out as thumbnails before I actually get to the comps. Like I've got the mountain range here upside down. I've got the two V's coming in, kind of like the one I showed you of the Sistine Chapel with God and Adam's fingers coming together. I've got circles, waves. I've got arrows as if a squadron of spacecrafts are coming across the page. Heavy density to light, bubbles coming across, something that allows you to think where I want to do a pattern for my letters. Please do not just start laying out letters on the page. You need a strong structure somehow. Once you've got your structure laid out, once we get that into Illustrator, you'll have the ability to go from your flat format. You can do a rotation. You can scale the box up or down to accommodate where you want to move that information. So we have lots to go on. And we'll probably talk about that when we get into Zoom in our virtual classroom setting as well. When we get to step 3, we're going to create a layout. We've done this in past assignments. We'll go a new layout. Again, we're working on tabloid. Tabloid is 11 by 17. And we'll do that in the landscape format. Create. I'll hit the ruler. Command R. There's the ruler. If you do not have inches, you'll need to come up to Illustrator Preferences and go to Units and select General Inches. Go OK. That will allow you to take the guides, move the guides out, divide the page in quarters. So you have an apex in the middle. So there's 8.5 times 2 is 17, and 5.5 times 2 is, wait for it, 11. I know why most of you are art majors, because you can't add. Just kidding. Hold down the Option key, click, and it'll bring up the dialog box. This is a 10 by 10 format. I already have it laid in. And now I want to give myself the trim marks. So I'll come over here to trim marks. I'll beef them up a little bit. I like them at about 0.75. And now I'll drag my guides out all the way around to help me in the design process. So here's my guides. And now I want to put the 1-inch margin all the way around. That will help me with my design, but it's kind of hard to do the math sometimes, so it's much easier if you just come to the apex of the guide ruler and bring and reset the 0, 0. Now watch where it changes. This is 0 here and 0 there. Very simple, and now you can just bring it down to create your 1-inch guide allocations as specified. And I'll bring this out. 1 inch. 1 inch. And now that that's done, I can very easily come over here to my layers. I'll double click on that and call that guides. And I'll lock that. Oh, before I do, I want to get rid of that box. I don't need that box. I've got my guides, so I'll lock the guides. And I'll create a couple new layers. I can do a layer as small type. And I cut medium type. Because remember, we're going to have 3 different layers, type and large. And you decide however the scale is going to be. But I'll just start with the large layer. And I'll just get some information on here. We'll just start playing with it a little bit. And you can decide how you want to do this. For mine, I'm just going to put down, let's say, I'll do it capitalized A, V, W, and X. Those are simple enough. And I'll just drag them out. And I will make them Futura. Should be easy enough to work with for my deal. And I can play with which one I want. Or I can come and go Command T. It'll bring up this dialog box as well. And I can punch in Futura. And I can scale through here and do what I want. Maybe I want to work with the italicized bold. or just standard, however I want to do that. I'm giving you some parameters on this, and I'll create different sizes. So this will be the small, click and shift option, drag up another one, shift option again, and then I can decide how big I want these. So there's that'll be my, see, that's my large, then here's my medium. And I'll separate this out for right now, and I will actually come in here. Now they're all selected, I can put them on their own separate layers. So this could be on its layer. I'll move it a little to the next one, and the small one I can move on its layer too. So you can turn the light on, you can see where everything's at all at one given time, which is kind of helpful. I'll also go Command all of everything on the layers. I'm going to come up to Type, and I'm going to create outline, create outlines. And while I'm still there, I'm going to ungroup so that I can move these around individually. But while I have them there, I'm going to actually flip them and add a thickness. So I think I make this one about 12, a little bit thicker than that. I'll go 16. I'll make these about 8. I need to flip that. Make that about 8. Maybe go 9. And then the smaller one, again, I flip that. And I can do that at 4. So I get a nice differentiation. And as mentioned, I can do these at rotations if I wish. You know, I can take the V on that. I Command C copy and paste. I can make one of these, and then I can very simply come over here and go rotate. Click, go 90. Rotated a bunch of stuff. Oh, that's interesting. So I think I'll play around with the design a little bit here and just see what I can come up with for fun. I'll move these right here, and I will move this one over here. I don't really have anything too planned here. I'm just kind of playing around. I use the keys to play with. And I can take the V, I got the W, helps if I unselect them. And I do recommend that you do spend a lot of time just kind of playing with the process and making different versions in order to get where you want to go with it. I've got some additional letters here. I can move them up into here. Think about how I want my design to look. I'll leave some room for that to move. And I can move this over here. And see. Whatever. Amazing design. What do you think? Yeah, I know. So the question is how do I bifurcate and get that interesting look? We talked about doing that MC Escher look and feel. There's a number of ways you can do that, but the primary way will be to take individual letter forms. I'm going to do a select all in a moment here. Get this last one overlapping somehow. Select them all, and notice that the line is on the inside. I need to get the line on the outside because that is the thickness that I'm going to play with. So I'm going to go up here to Object, Path, Outline, Stroke. And now look at the outline is on the outside of the letter, not the inside. And this is all outlined on page 2 of the assignment. In the lower right hand corner it says Basic Letter Form Process. You can go through that. It's all written out for you. You can play with that. And now that I've done that, I'll go up to the, while everything's selected, I'm going to come over here and open up in Windows Pathfinder. Oh, it was already open. There it is. And I'm going to select Divide. As soon as I hit Divide, everything has been divided. I'll come over here to the Direct Select tool, and I can start deleting individual pieces to create something interesting within my work. And however I want to do that, I can create all kinds of interesting look and feel. Command 0, bring it out. Start playing with different aspects of the work. And that will give you that overall ability to mix and match. If you don't like something, you can go back, Command Z a couple times, add them back in, and try it again. try something else you want to cut out. And you could even do that if you wanted to, where they join together. That could give you something rather interesting in your work. So I'm allowing you lots of room to play with the design. But again, you're going to want to work off your sketches. Then once I'm done with that, if I wanted to, now that everything, if you notice, is gathered into one format, Command All, everything has gone to one page. And now I can actually, if I want to in the design, I talked about you can rotate if you wanted to. You can even scale it. Be helpful. However you want within that. And this is going to be a trim allocation. You can even come and put a box on top of this and do a clipping mask. And go Command A, All. Come up here to Object, down to Clipping Mask. And that'll allow you to look at how it would be when you actually go to the overall effect. And View Outline. There's your outline. You can look in View, and you can see how the thing would look overall. So keep in mind, this is just a preliminary, and when you're done with the clipping mask, you can come back to Object, and you can release the clipping mask. It's pretty straightforward. Command A again, go to Object, and Release. And you can move that around. Hope that's been helpful. We'll do additional content later. I'm looking for your suggestions. If it's something you'd like to see, you can come back and ask me. I'd be more than happy to help you with anything that you feel would be beneficial for you accomplishing the assignment effectively. Thanks again, Professor Sorrell. See ya.